Hey, hey, hey.
Hello there.
Hi, Emmy. Great to be with
How are
you.
you doing, Yvonne? Nice being with you
I'm really
always.
well.
So,
Really
what are we
well, really
talking about
well.
today?
Well, okay. So this week we are looking at I am not enough through the eyes, through the lens of the victim. Yeah, this is well, they're all juicy ones. I mean, I'm just like, I don't know if there is a
Yeah,
saboteur that isn't a juicy one to have a look at, right? I
true.
know that for you and for myself, that the victim is very, like, pretty, I don't want to say non-existent. It's not really that. It's very low on our lists.
Yeah,
But we were talking a little bit earlier, and I was saying to you that I have definitely been in the presence of that, and I can see now how it has triggered my saboteurs. So that's really interesting to know. But I guess let's just talk about the victim. So when you think about the victim, even just the name, the victim, what comes up for you, Evie? What do you picture?
well, to me, I do picture, like relinquishing control, and because my controller is so high, I suppose that's why my victim was right down the very bottom, and because I see, like being in control as being able to manage and take responsibility of your own whatever you're doing, life or work or like anything. So it is. That doesn't mean to say that at no stage in my life have I not felt the "oh poor me" kind of scenario. we all feel it, and it is nice to know that that is also a saboteur, because it gives you that sense of like, okay, I can work with it, I can deal with it, and I know why it is triggered, and how can I make it better now. Like from yes of the I'm not enough, it is quite an interesting one, because I would say it sort of like creates more that self-fulfilled prophecy, the I'm not enough, with the victim. So like, yeah, poor me, I have never been given the opportunities, therefore I'm not enough, and all these things. So I think that's how it plays out with the I'm not enough. What do you think?
Yeah, I think that for me, the when as I think about the victim, everything is external. It's everything and everyone else's fault that I'm in this place, and I have no control and no say, and there's nothing I can do. It's all beyond me. So there is this real belief that everything external is what is running my show, and also determines my worth, who I am. I can't, I don't get to decide that. And I think for me, when I have just thinking about when I have come into the presence of people who have this saboteur, and especially when it's quite strong, it's been really interesting, because it literally makes me, it has made me tense up, like that feeling. And I'll unpack that in a minute, because I suddenly it was the realization of, well, what saboteurs were coming up for me in that moment, because usually a saboteur will trigger another saboteur in somebody else. So I think we always need to be aware of what's happening with that. But just like you, I can also think of moments when I have absolutely played victim, when I have most definitely embodied, oh, well, even when I was made redundant, I think for the first week afterwards, oh my goodness, if I could have wallowed any deeper in the oh, woe is me mindset, what was great was that the ability for my brain to say, this is not okay, and this is not what you're at, get the hell out of this mess, was great. Because it literally was for, I want to say a week. It wasn't quite a week. It was maybe 3 to 5 days of like that sinking feeling, and oh my gosh, they don't want me, they don't need me, I'm not enough, and all the stuff that went with that. and then there was a switch. So I feel like it was a dip in and then get the hell out, because this is not going to help you and this isn't going to get you anywhere. But even being able to see that play out, I think when it's come to other people and seeing it in other people, what has happened for me is that my judge has immediately jumped in and just like, oh, for goodness sakes, what is this all about? This is like, you're not, this isn't a child, she's an adult. Why is she behaving like this? This is ridiculous. So all of this like criticism that's surfaced. And then my avoider has jumped in and just said, just be the peacemaker, just be nice, just don't be awkward, don't pull them up. So I've had the internal battle of saboteurs when faced with this saboteur. And that's just such an important thing to realize, because what it means now is when I'm in the presence of somebody who is in that, I can be so much more empathetic. I can be much more empathetic and think, how can I be more supportive, as opposed to allowing my saboteurs to come in and have a whole other conversation, which doesn't help anything. It just kind of actually makes the situation worse. That makes sense.
Definitely. Oh, yeah. I mean, I was thinking of empathy just before you mentioned it, because, the thing is that I have that, like, my empathy has grown since I have started working with the saboteurs. So even though, I've always worked with people, and I've always been a coach, and I know I have very strong empathy. There are points, especially when the victim card has been played, that I could not see that there was something behind it that was pushing that. I would be like very, as you said, critical. Sometimes openly, sometimes not, of course. But the bottom line is that either way, you need to be empathetic, because there are so many reasons behind somebody feeling a certain way. And
Yes.
we don't all feel the same way. We don't all understand the things that are happening around us, to us, for us, in the same way. And it was, for me, it was very easy, especially when it was not in a professional setting, to just dismiss somebody and
Yes.
being very, like, as you said, not wanting to be around these people, because I felt that they were really, taking my energy because of all this neediness. It was like, oh my God, what's going on here? But that is not really how I should show up if I wanted to really help that person make a shift, because there is a way to make a shift, and we know that now.
Absolutely.
And
Yeah.
you can empower people really, to take ownership of what they're feeling, and show up in a different way for themselves first, and then, of course, for others.
Indeed.
Yeah.
And you're that word that you use there, that neediness, is I think key, because generally the childhood experience that is likely to be associated with the victim is that they didn't feel seen, they didn't feel heard, so there was a lack of attention. This is maybe generalizing, but there is that thing. And so what are they seeking? It's like, if I am wounded, if I play this part and I'm wounded, and then I get attention, because that's probably how they got, if they got it, still their attention, by being wounded, by being by showing that they are hurting. And actually, when you think about that, then gosh, empathy just oozes, because you just want to say this is not the way that you need to be, that you are seen, that you are heard. And really go about it in a very different way, and certainly from a different way that I would, because like you, for me, it was very energy draining, and I wanted to just be like, no, I just don't want to be in this space, because it's just sucking the life out of me. And knowing that actually there is a much better way. And I don't mean that when I'm working professionally, but certainly in my personal life, that would definitely be how I would show up. I think professionally, and it's really interesting because professionally, when you're kind of in coach mode, you kind of step into the best version of yourself, which means that
True.
you tend to you listen in a very different way. You kind of peel back all the judgments and stuff, and kind of tune into. So it's a very different. Even now, thinking about it, in my coaching, I would be very different than how I was in a personal situation. And yet, actually, the people were showing up with exactly the same things and required that same sense of, I'm here for you, I see you, I hear you. Let's get down to the root of what's going on here.
Do you find that after the work that we have done, you are like pretty much on a, I don't want to say on a coach mode, but like generally you are showing up in a more even way, whether it is in a professional or a personal state?
Yeah, definitely. I now when I'm in conversations with anyone about anything, I think one of the things that I always do, almost now automatically, is, oh, who's the child in this person, right? So anyone who's familiar with positive intelligence will kind of know what that's about, and anyone who's not, you'll want to join our community in the new year and you'll find out more. But let's
Oh,
drop
yeah.
that for now. I'll just get that little push in now. But I'm always looking to think, what is the child in this? What's that experience that the child is operating, that this person is operating from, and that helps me to stay much more balanced in the way that I have discussions. It doesn't mean to say that I don't get to say what I think and what I feel and what is the matter if there's a problem. In fact, the only things that ever stopped me there were probably my avoider. So so now that that's been tamed, I can do all those things, but do it from a place of compassion. And yes, for me, definitely that has trickled over from my professional mode of operation into my personal mode of operation, which is gorgeous, because now I feel more in harmony with myself. Like, I'm not split out into these kind of different routes. It's just a sense of harmony within myself. And I think that that's really important. Yeah. What for you, Evie?
Exactly the same. That's why I was, inquiring. I think that the work that we do has an effect in all our, like our essence, our life. And it doesn't matter whether you are in a professional mode or in a personal mode. At the end of the day, you are you. And if you have discovered all these things and how you operate with them, you tend to go to sage mode anyway, wherever you are, whatever you do, and you are being more curious about the things that are happening. And I think in our personal lives it's even more pronounced, because that's usually the one part that takes a back step, especially when we are in, like I don't know, let's say in a creative mode, or if we are anxious to do something, to get out there, the way we show up, and all these things. But I think that the beauty of positive intelligence, that it is helping you being way more authentic, because it's all the same in a way. Nothing really, there is no changes from how you show up. You just show up as you.
Yes.
And you are curious, and you want to figure it out, and you want to be playful, and you want to be innovative, and you want to help out, and you want to find out what is triggering other people, for you, or how, what
Yes.
triggers you with regards to them. And of course, within your personal environment, this is even more important in a way, because that can keep you more balanced,
Yes.
even in your professional life. Isn't that correct?
Yeah,
If you are
definitely.
in a good state within your personal relationships, it's more likely that you're going to be showing up with ease and flow in your professional settings. Because if you are like really upset about something in your personal life, and you have to have to show up in a very calm and sage way in your professional life, that
Yeah.
can't always work. Um, and
Yeah.
it's not going to be working under ease and flow. It's going to be more like, okay, now I have to do this. Let's push through. And
Yes.
we know pushing doesn't help.
Well, we generally know that pushing is a
Yeah.
fear-induced state of operation, which is not great. But yeah, all of those things. But coming back to the actual victim itself, because what I was interested to find out is, what are the strengths of the victim? Because obviously all of the saboteurs have strengths. And I was kind of looking into this, and it's about they feel deeply and clearly. So they feel their own emotions very deeply and very clearly, which for me was like, oh wow, okay, that was like a really good thing to be able to acknowledge as a strength. Very introspective, capable of deep and courageous introspection and self-discovery. I mean, when I think about the victim, these are not things that would have come to my mind in terms of what their strengths would be. And that for me again is like when we look at the strengths for all of these saboteurs, what's that thing when they're not playing out or playing up into this role, the victim, the restless, whatever, what is it? What's the essence? What's the true self that lies beneath? And so, and again, I love this because this is about understanding that even if you're hearing things about the victim and you're thinking, oh my goodness, I've seen that in myself, or I see that in so many other people, and it makes me feel this or that or whatever, knowing that underneath that behavior that you're seeing, underneath that pattern of behavior you're seeing, lies this beautiful essence, lies this beautiful person who, with support and guidance, can really demonstrate that in their lives, can really become more of that and really shed the stuff that's getting in the way. Because those trickier behaviors are like the layers that just need to be peeled back.
As a victim, you are like you can be very empathetic, which is, I think, really, especially in our profession, one of the most important skills to have. And so, as long as you can see how being a victim doesn't serve, then everything else is all good. That's the whole point. And also, by understanding this saboteur, like in your core, imagine how much more you could help somebody that is dealing with this saboteur. Because for us, we are more like, okay, like shake it off. Kind of thing. But it's not that easy, and
No.
we know that now. We know that. So when you have that sense of empathy that is innate, that is a very different kind of way to show up and to work with somebody that is, struggling with this.
Definitely. And I think just to, just in terms of understanding, what's going on internally with the victim, like what are the feelings that they're having or might be having. They'll probably feel lonely. So
Yeah.
there's a sense of loneliness. There's a sense of
Loss.
really kind of loss and brooding over negative feelings. So when something happens, it's not a 2-minute fix for it. It is just this awful sense of whatever that's going on internally that can to somebody else be like, what is wrong with you? This has happened, blah blah blah, come out the other side. But it's not that easy for somebody who is being overrun by the victim. It's not a blink of an eye fix, because they are still operating from that sense of needing attention, feeling that they have been potentially abandoned, and all of those. And if you can just take all of each of those words and kind of lay them in and try to sense what that must feel like. That yes, certainly as coaches, but as human beings, we have a responsibility to really help somebody see and feel their worth and know that regardless of what is happening, regardless of all the external stuff that is happening, you have value. You are still amazing and beautiful as you are. And I use the word kind of amazing and beautiful because, and beautiful is not in the terms of what somebody looks like aesthetically. I'm talking about the essence of human beings is love, right? At our deepest level. We may not see that in everyone. We may not always see it in ourselves, but it is there. So there is this journey to really helping people come out of those layers and really begin to feel the essence of who they are, and that's work to be done. That's, again, it's not the flick of a light switch. It's work that needs to be done.
And it is interesting that basically the person that has created positive intelligence, his highest saboteur is a victim. And I'm saying that because it is important for people to hear this, because I know from what we've been discussing with other colleagues and stuff, this saboteur is the hardest to admit. And because we all, nobody really wants to be labeled a victim or to feel that they are a victim, and that creates the resistance that you really end up, making things even harder to deal with. So the fact that the person that created positive intelligence has one of his highest saboteurs as a victim, and he has gone through to create this, is a testament of how much deeper people that are in under that saboteur can feel and be empathetic and understand the importance of using every single bit of our SAIDs rather than listening to the saboteurs that are keeping us behind, and helping everybody else do the same is even, the best work ever, basically.
And that is such a brilliant point, Emmy, to say that, the creator of this was like one of the top saboteurs, and that to see the journey that he has created for himself through his work and the impact that he's having on, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of people with his work is a testament. And it doesn't matter what your saboteurs are. And you mentioned the word labels. If you do an assessment and the assessment says victim is high for you, it's not an opportunity to beat yourself up. It's not an opportunity to dismiss it because you don't like the sound of it. It's just the name of it's a name of a pattern of behavior that you are displaying, whether often or infrequently, that is not helping you, be the best human being that you can be. That's it. It's not who you are. It's a pattern that is coming up. And what we want to do, and what the positive intelligence work does, is really look to break those patterns, to stop those patterns from occurring, so that all of that beautiful essence of who you are emerges and rises to the top. Because don't we all, I mean, ultimately, don't we all want to be the best version of who we can be? Don't we all want to be the true essence of who we are? We don't have to create something else out here to step into. It's here. It's already here. It's inside of us. We just need to be able to access it. And for me, that's the descaling, the removal of the layers that allows us to get to that essence.
Absolutely. That's so well put. And I think that, if there is anybody that labels, that's ourselves, that we allow labels to, drive us in a way. And we can see it from an early age as to, we are sort of follow this in our professions, and the way we show up is like, who are you? What is the answer that you give when you hear that question? Most of us respond with our profession, and it is not really who we are. And let alone the rest of the victims, that we are absolutely not who we are.
Indeed. And yeah, so true. And I think just so that anyone, again, who's listening, and if you're thinking, oh gosh, I would hate that to be my saboteur, because I think sometimes you hear some of them and you think, oh good grief, I'd be so disappointed with myself if that was me, if that was my thing. But again, it's a pattern. But understand that if you're somebody who tends to withdraw, if you're somebody who pouts and sulks a lot, if you're somebody who kind of like drama is everywhere and everything, right? If you're incredibly temperamental, if you're also somebody who suppresses your anger, which then becomes rage, then there is every chance that there is a victim pattern playing out for you, that there is a victim pattern playing out for you. And if not addressed, and this is why I feel like the work is so important, if left unaddressed, again, like so many other saboteurs, this leads to a miserable life. And you are not here to have a miserable life. That is not your purpose. So being able to see the characteristics, understand that they're coming from a pattern of behavior learned at an early age, that they're still with you, they're still playing out. You have the power to make a decision to do something to change that, so that you can actually release the strength, the essence of who you are. Why would you not want to do that? Why would you not want to do that? Because at some point we have to ask ourselves about any of our saboteurs that whilst it may keep us safe, what joy is it bringing into my life? Where's the fun and the happiness and all those things that we talk and hear a lot about? Where is that? How am I not getting it? And it's usually because these patterns are running the show, because the patterns just want to keep you safe. The patterns aren't worried about how happy you are. The patterns aren't worried about how much joy you feel. They're just there to keep you safe from something that happened, or something that you experienced, something that you saw from those early years. So we have the potential to break free from all of that. And all we have to do is give ourselves the permission to do so.
Absolutely. And even the keeping safe is an illusion. It's not like a real thing, and that is the thing to understand, is that we are the ones that are telling ourselves the story.
Yeah.
So if we are the ones that are telling ourselves the story, we have to start telling ourselves a better story, and that's the bottom line. And we can, because it's up to us.
Yeah, Absolutely. And I think that that's probably the perfect note to kind of round off on, is that tell ourselves a better story, create ourselves a better story, understanding that we have the capacity and the ability to do so. It is ingrained within us. We can make the changes that are necessary for us to have the quality of life that we wish to have, whatever that is. That's not the same for all of us, but we know the quality of life we want to have. And it is completely possible for us if we're willing to do some of the work, right? Because we have to, if we are not willing to kind of reveal this stuff, to reveal what is truly happening within us, and kind of decide that this is not how I want the rest of my life to play out, then we just get caught in the trap. So we have to be willing to kind of do that work, the inner work. And for me, I use that, you know, thriving is a word that I use a lot, but this is when I'm going to give myself permission to thrive. I'm going to give myself permission to do what is necessary so that I can shine, because quite frankly, that's what I believe I'm here to do. And that permission can only come from us. Somebody else can tell us that, but somebody else telling us that doesn't have the same power as when we tell it from ourselves.
Definitely, 100%. Thank you very much, Yvonne, for one more beautiful chat.
Yeah, I love these sessions, and this one's been quite challenging, doing the victim, because it's so low for both of us.
Yeah.
But still being able to see the pattern, still being able to share stories where we've seen it in others and how it's made us feel and how that's triggered our saboteurs. For me, this is all really useful information for all of us to have. And so I'm just going to play a little bit on the teaser here, is that, you know, we are really going to take this work and run with it, along with the other things that we do. So for me, health, nature is who I am and what I do. Evie's, you know, career, entrepreneur, all of those, personal development, all of those things, is that we're going to kind of bring all of our magic to this work and really help people. And I'm going to say women, because that's who we work with predominantly, really help them unveil that magic source that is inside. Absolutely. That you probably feel sometimes brewing and stuff, and then you either suppress it because you don't know what to do with it, or, you know, not now, later, or whatever the stuff is that comes up, or whatever saboteur messages come up around that stop you from investigating and being more curious. You know, we're gonna do some really amazing work on that next year, and we're gonna tell you a little bit more about that as November unfolds. But yeah, we're going to leave it there for now.
Looking forward to that.
Secret sources to follow. Brilliant. Oh, yeah. Evie, thank you. Thank you so much, as always.
Thank you.
And for all those who have listened in, thank you so much. And always leave messages, anything that you want to leave. We are open ears and willing to hear. Thank you.